Hi, and welcome.
I'm Z,
And I'm Keith.
and we're going to tell you about the movie that we just watched. But first, a little bit of a heads up.
Some of the movies we watch deal with heavy subject matters.
In order to talk about these emotionally delicate things and the heavy subject matters that we sometimes cover, we add humor and crude language to add some levity and to process our own trauma.
If that doesn't feel fun or safe for you, we completely understand. Please take care of yourself first and foremost.
And we spoil the end of pretty much every movie that we watch.
Now you know. On with the show. Come on, girls. Come on. Get ready, boys.
Let's go, boys.
Let's go.
Let's see how many times you can full on punch the microphone this time.
Yeah, it's always the challenge. It's real.
See, I don't hear it when you do it like that, but then it's usually when you hit the...
Yeah, if I hit the arm. Or...
every time you put your water down, it's like going.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need like a drink of water.
Hey, what did Mick Jagger say to Dennis Weaver that time where he was...
I don't know who Dennis Weaver is.
He had to fill in for a friend who was a shepherd. And then he caught Dennis Weaver fucking one of the sheep.
He said, leave my mom alone.
Pretty close. He said, hey, McLeod, get off of my ewe. Get it? Because the Stones have that song, Get Off of My Cloud. And
who's Weaver? Who's
Dennis Weaver played on television a character named McLeod.
Okay. That's a really good joke.
That came up recently because Dr. Brian C. Floda reminded me of a joke by our shared friend, Christopher Dixon, told us back in the day. That joke, or a version of that joke. Because Dr. Floda recently recommended to me a television movie called Cocaine One Man's Seduction, starring Dennis Weaver.
Hot.
And a young Jeffrey Tambor looking...
Very similar to what he does in this film that we watched.
Pretty similar, but more looking like Andy Kaufman.
Oh,
than
that's
I've ever
right.
seen
Yeah,
him.
you sent me and you were like Jeffrey Tambor is Andy Kaufman or something, and I was like, girl, you're right.
Dennis Weaver is also the star of Steven Spielberg's first film, Duel, which is the
one of my favorites.
basis for that Bob's episode with the candy cane truck. That's basically the same premise.
Really?
Except it's just him. It's just Dennis Weaver.
Yeah.
There's nobody else in the car. But he's getting harassed by someone in a semi.
That's also the plot of Joy Ride, which I've tried to get you to watch, or I want to watch with you.
Okay.
We have to watch that. And I think it's okay, so in Joy Ride, candy cane is said a lot in that movie. So it has,
okay.
Yeah.
It's a hybrid.
Candy cane. My niece, because they pretend they like fuck with truckers or whatever, and they pretend to be like women looking for a date or whatever to prank truckers because they're being mean or whatever. And
like on their CB radios,
yeah, on the
or something?
CB radio. And Paul Walker he's like, I'm Candy Cane and I want to show you a good time. And so they get one of the truckers.
Also, any mentions of snowballs?
No. And they get try turning the mic.
You try turning the mic. What?
Like, it's tipped up.
Yeah, I know it's tipped.
I meant you could tip it a little bit. Yeah, that's all.
I don't want to talk to you about this.
I'm so excited about that lawnmower. So
If you want to wait.
it's fine. So they prank the trucker, and then they don't meet up with him because they're like, we're gonna meet up and we're gonna go to a they basically set him up to go to a hotel room or whatever, motel
Settle
room.
a bet for us.
And it's the motel they're staying at, and they tell him like some random room because they basically are like wanting to prank him. And the random room he goes to, or it's like the room next to them or something like that, and some random dude's sleeping in that room, and the trucker like kills
murders him.
Yeah. And he's like, candy cane, and then they're like, he's like,
I see.
And then he starts like going after them, and they're like, it was just a prank, like we're sorry,
Come on
like
and play.
yeah, and he's like candy cane, voiced by one of the loves of my life, Ted Levine.
Oh, perfect.
And
wait.
yes, and wait, was she a great big piss person?
Piss person?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's what you said.
Yes,
yesterday.
I did. So, but I watched. So my niece loved this movie, and she was like 3 years old, and she would be like, "I want to watch the Candy Cane movie." She loved it?
Why was she allowed to watch that?
I don't exactly know, but whatever. And she would want to watch. She would like beg to watch the Candy Cane movie, which is what she would call Joyride. And it was the truck driver was voiced by Ted Levine, and I got it on DVD or something like that, and like one of the behind the scenes was like they didn't like Ted Levine wasn't their first choice, and they tried like multiple people out, and one of those people that they tried out to be the creepy truck driver was
Sue
Eric
Weber.
Roberts, who does not have a creep. No,
I can see thinking of him, but yeah,
like candy cane, and he's got a little bit of a lisp,
right, just like jewelry
and a southern accent, and he's just like
you said lisp. I was thinking of the accent.
She doesn't really have it. Yeah, he's like candy. Yeah, it was like it's like I'm gonna get you candy. It was just like it.
I think he can be menacing, but not in that way.
No, it would because here's the thing: you never see the truck driver.
Yeah.
It's only the voice that you hear. And
Clancy fucking Brown.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, Ted Levine's a great
perfect,
choice.
But yeah, it was just like, yeah. Anyway, none of that. The only
Tony Todd.
Oh my god, that would be too fucking scary, man.
Yeah, right. They would just be shitting themselves.
Oh man. Joyride takes place in the desert, much like the film that we're talking about today, Desert Hearts. Oh my god, we might have to pause for just a minute. Okay.
I don't trust it.
I don't trust it either, but I'm going to leave it for just a second.
Because the engine's still
I know, but I think that motor is a different one.
And if we look at a spectrograph of the sound, we're like, it's. I haven't quite cracked it.
I know, because he gasped so like I can't gasp like that. Like I can't gasp like that.
It's like me anytime I try to imitate Lana Kane's shocked.
Yeah.
I always end up.
Yeah, I know. I like what it is like he fully like inhaled with so much noise. Like he was like I can't like not only can I not do that especially the way he did it, but I can't do it as many times in a span of a minute that he did. Like I really can't. I don't know how. Like I don't know. Maybe next time we go in there, we'll ask him for some tips or whatever. Like, hey,
we're both working on our impressions of
a doctor that I went to go see.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun.
He's a lot of fun, but and also he may be ADHD or something. I don't fucking know, but he's. He was fucking insane. It was great, though. Highly recommend him. I won't name him because I refuse to do that.
But you should go see him.
But you should go see him if you can. I'm not even going to tell you what kind of doctor he is. You just got to guess and keep going until you find a doctor that goes, so,
Desert Hearts.
Desert Hearts.
Apparently loosely based on the novel The Heart of the Desert.
Oh, okay. I was going to say the desert of the heart or something.
The Desert of the Heart.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, the Desert of the Heart, not the Heart of the Desert. That's...
Man, I will tell you that I truly honestly thought this was going to be a movie where I thought it was going to be like a made for TV kind of movie. And I also thought it was going to be like, my phone's ringing. And so I'm going to set it down.
You're just going to hold it.
No, I want to put it down, but like, I'm going to wait till it stops ringing because it's going to be really loud when I set it on plastic. Okay. So I thought it was going to be like made for TV kind of shit. Right. Like I thought it was going to be like really hokey. Starring and I thought the lesbian and I thought the lesbianism was going to be like very much, what do you call it?
Lipstick?
No. Like, no. Where it's like headcanon. I thought it was going to be more like headcanon. Like,
headcanon?
Yeah, or like retcon kind of shit. So, like headcanon. Okay. Phrase. Headcanon means like it's canon for you. Like you made it up. Like headcanon, I think is just. I mean, maybe I'm using. Oh, it wrong,
I see. So,
but it's like. It's not like canon is like real, but like how you take it and you think what they're implying or you feel like this is what they're implying. Right. So it's like head canon is XYZ.
So basically like Hays Code kind of queer coding.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be for sure like maybe they
Hays
hold
Code era queer coded characters.
Yes, correct. And it was going to be like holding hands and then them saying like certain things that were supposed to, you know. I didn't expect
not titties
literally touching. Nipple on nipple. I was like, oh my God, that was...
I really enjoy that happens. That's like almost the last thing that happens. Yes, and I really appreciate that.
I know. Yeah, I was like, I honestly was like, oh my God, are they like...
I didn't expect it either.
I know. But... Boy!
Stop.
Boy.
Judge.
I...
Shout out for anyone my age who used to play Karate Champ.
Stop. God.
Yeah, it was
one of the few arcade games I played a lot.
So the premise of the movie is basically a woman goes to Reno. I guess she stays in Reno to get divorced, and she has to like stay there for like several weeks. It's in the 50s, I should specify.
1959. Dateline.
And yeah,
Reno, Nevada.
And she goes to this ranch, and I guess it's where like women rants. I guess the ranch is like where women go to get divorced or where people go to get divorced or something like that, because there's a bunch of women staying there and they're all like, oh, this is how my sad story is.
Very unclear to me.
They do not do a lot of work to specify, which I enjoyed, that you're kind of like, because I was like expecting, because I knew it was a lesbian movie.
Right.
And because I was expecting, I thought it was going to be like, at first I thought it was literally like conversion camp, because she's getting divorced. And I thought it was like where they send all the lesbians who are getting divorced.
But I'm an English professor.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I was like, okay, and that's not at all what was going on. I was like, what? But damn, this movie was like a legit movie. Like this was like a good movie. I was surprised. Silver and Johnny.
They still a show for me.
Oh my God. The bathtub scene, best scene in the movie, other than the nipples touching, the kissing nipples.
They really fucking...
Oh my God. There's a scene where there's this character, Silver, who's like an older lady, like not older, like elderly, but like older than the main character.
Right.
Or one of the main characters. And she's probably like in her 40s.
25?
Yeah, the main character.
Kay is supposed to be 25.
Kay is 25, and then the professor is 35.
Right.
And then I think Silver is like supposed to be like maybe like 10 years older than Vanessa or whatever her name is.
Vivian Bell.
Vivian, yeah. Vivessa. So
Yarnessa. It's hard to tell. I think it's one of those things where you have to kind of skew because I have no idea how old the actress was playing Vivian Bell at the time.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Does everyone have this? I think you and I have talked about this, that like as you age, you like, I mean, particularly with things you've watched multiple times or grew up with,
Yeah.
you like have to, it's a real mind fuck, like to adjust, like, oh, I'm older than this character who was the mom in that movie or whatever.
Yeah. Oh my God. Right.
But also, like, if it's a period piece, people didn't live as long.
Yeah.
White people especially age poorly, so they may look older than we think. So I don't know. I would say pushing 40 is my guess.
Was that she was between the age of like Vivian and
Frances, Kay's mom.
Yes, Kay's not mom.
Right.
Not the mom, not the aunt, and not the daughter.
100%.
And yeah, I just got the impression that she was like heading into old maid territory and like had been, is
well, it's clearly like giving up on dreams or
Yeah.
have it felt like she's had to give up on dreams.
Yeah.
But met a nice man.
Yeah.
And he's great. He gets like 2 fucking scenes.
He's great. And I was so worried that they were going to do the thing where he turns into a piece of shit. Never happened. I was so excited about that. My favorite part is the bathtub scene where Silver is in the bathtub with Kay.
A confessed fire starter.
And
arsonist. Excuse me.
I'm trapped down here with a confessed arsonist. and Johnny comes in with cocktails for them, brings them in, and is like,
tray.
boy, sometimes I really wish I could be a pretty girl. And I was like, oh my God. And then Silver's like, sometimes I feel like it was such a good line. She's like, sometimes I feel like it's so good that you're going to disappear or something like that, or you're going to go away or something. I'll
put in the whole 10-minute scene here because it's all great.
Just you remember, she's going to pick up her decree and be gone.
Well, maybe by then I'll figure out something in this screwed up little life of mine.
I love your life, babe. I wouldn't want to be here without it.
Oh, you look like 2 desserts.
Beg your pardon.
Sometimes I honest to God wish I knew what it felt like to be a gorgeous woman.
You want the ring back, honey?
No. Maybe I'll be reincarnated. I got to put the stakes on.
Joe? I'm afraid if it stays this good, I'm gonna find a way to screw it up.
Hey, don't I always get you through the good times, huh, babe?
And he says,
I've always gotten you through good times.
I've always got.
Yeah, it's a perfect scene, honestly.
I'm so sorry. The way you said it. You were like, I always got through good times.
I don't like good times.
And you're like, it's so good. Anyway, you'll hear it. You'll hear it from Johnny himself.
And you'll see how spot on I was.
I was like, Johnny?
Right on the money.
Right on the money. Oh, I fucking love that scene. Yeah, it's a really, what's interesting about it is that it does feel like, yeah, like it's not like any movie. I'm so shocked. I was like so shocked about this movie.
Agree. You really,
Nothing at all what I was expecting. Not even remotely. Like, it takes place in the desert. That's the only thing I can.
a love story between two women that includes sexuality,
Yes.
like
if
and nudity. That is so.
Yeah.
I guess earnest is like one of the words.
Yes.
Like, it feels very natural in a way.
Like if you're looking for like Blue is the Warmest Color was like I fucking hated that movie. It was so fucking annoying. Yeah, you wouldn't like it. It's like notoriously like the director like they have like this very graphic sex scene where they're like scissoring and like it's like this whole thing. And,
right.
But like notoriously like the director was like screaming at them while they were filming it and they were like crying during like they're literally they're crying during the sex scene.
Hot.
And it's like, oh, it made it more. I'm like, no, I've never.
Yeah, I was gonna say it helps that the director.
Yeah, the director's a woman.
Is a confirmed lesbian.
Okay. I was gonna say, I'm assuming queer. Yeah, the titty thing. I was like, how did she know? How did they know? It's a thing.
How did they know what?
That's a thing. That
what?
like put it like
touching nips.
Yeah, smushing nipples. That's a thing. We do that. Us gays do that. I one time had a girlfriend who specifically requested that.
Nice.
I know. It what? Well,
I mean, how could you not?
Yeah, exactly. She was like, "It's really hot when you put the nipples together," which was great because I, especially at the time, had no breasts. So I was like, "It's all you. You gotta. I can't do anything. I can't move where they're at. Like mine are stationary. Like I can't move them up and down.
Gravity's not really gonna do much for us here.
Yeah, I'm like I could be on my stomach. They're still where they're at. Like they're not going anywhere.
So I watched some vidges this morning. So
nice.
Should we go through? Do you want to go through the plot first, or should I do those?
So
things?
yeah, it's Kay. Nope. Vivian is this professor, 35-year-old professor who basically got really. I don't want to say bored with her marriage because it didn't it feels like similar to how you would describe a midlife crisis. Like she just couldn't stand feeling like she felt trapped. She felt like she wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah. Also in a refreshing, I don't know, choice.
Yeah.
It apparently is not an abusive relationship.
No,
it's just.
And she said, like, in one part, she says, like, her husband, they're like, does he, like, because they were saying something about him being, they're like, you could say, like, he mistreated you or something like that.
Oh, right. Mental anguish or something.
And she was like, literally, he would be fine with me just being, like, he has no, he loves me enough that he wouldn't care if I didn't love him.
Right.
He didn't need that. He just wanted to be with me, and it wasn't enough for me. And so, yeah, it's like, it's kind of, or however she says it, it's refreshing that it's not like she's leaving. And I'm assuming that's why she had to go to Reno because, like, there wasn't some sort of, like, dispute. It wasn't, I mean, marriage was probably harder to come by, in 1959. Especially, divorce.
Maybe that'll be my outro music.
Yes. But now that you've said it, you won't do it.
Probably.
Notoriously. Notoriously, that's a Keith move. If as soon as he lets you know of a plan, it's out of it's gone. Or my favorite is when you were like, you're like, I can't think of anything to do for vacation, and you're like, can you come up with some ideas? And so I said a bunch, and you're like, never mind, I figured it out. I was like,
two
whatever.
things that I have to admit about myself that I'm not necessarily proud of, and it's taking me too long to realize about myself.
Yes.
Oh, speaking of pizza, rock and roll high school. Hey guys, there's pizza.
Hey, pizza! Right, let's dig in.
Pizza.
Anyway.
Everybody gets it.
Everyone, yeah.
Keith's just a
One
Jessica
is like
Kate.
if I'm new to here's my the example I can think of where it was very apparent to me I had to really. There was no choice, but
Yeah.
I got not a pressure cooker, a slow cooker for the first time. And I'm like, hey friends, got any recipes? And as soon as somebody was like, oh yeah, here's what you do, I'm like, okay, I got it. I didn't even use the recipe. I'm just like, oh yeah, no, it's not that hard.
Sorry,
I can just do it. Something about that, like I need permission.
You need
External permission.
What you need is you need to know that it's easier than you think it is.
Exactly. I mean, your dumbass figured it out, so okay, I don't have to worry.
What I like to do is put noodle. Oh my god! Like when people make biscotti in the slow cooker and they do it wrong. Like when I was a nanny,
What?
she like just put like noodles and sauce like in the crock pot and like left it, and
Okay.
I don't know what the settings was, but nothing cooked. It just got warm. It was so weird. And she was like, you can have spaghetti if you want. And I was like, I literally am not going to eat that. That's so gross. And I was like, what? And that was the same place where they asked me how I would like my chicken cooked. And I said, I don't understand the question. And they said, do you want it medium? Do you want it rare, medium, or well done? And I was like, I'm sorry, well done. And they were like, oh, okay. And then I ate my chicken and I got about to the halfway mark and it was
Not
raw. And I was like, oh, and I was so scared. I was so fucking scared. I was like, I'm going to get salmonella. I'm going to die. How they're not dead, I don't know. Like literally, I don't understand.
That they're not.
That's a fair point.
Thank you.
But I meant how they weren't dead at that point, you know. Do you like your chicken rare? Do you like your salmonella room temperature? Like, what the fuck, bro? Blech. Okay, so anyway, Vivian goes to Reno.
The second thing is I am terrified of feeling predictable.
I hate you so much. And the third thing is you're a little bitch.
Oh, well, I don't think that's a secret to anyone.
I didn't
even
say
me.
it was a secret. It's just a thing you've discovered about yourself. Thanks to me, because I never let you forget it.
You keep me honest. And everybody, who doesn't like someone that calls them on their crap? We may fight and argue, but at the end of the day, we don't think we can do any better.
The fucking anniversary post I made for you.
Beautiful. One of your greatest works, in my opinion. Made me so mad.
Made me so mad. What can you recreate the noise you made at my profile picture?
No, not really, but it was like something like that. Just farting in the bathtub.
So your butthole made the sound?
Come on.
Okay, so
You've agreed. I thought that my farts sound like a dog drowning or a cat coughing up a hairball underwater.
I never said that. It sounds like a baby doll that you put all the way at the bottom of the bathtub and squeeze, and then you hear because you put the air from it comes out and goes.
Okay.
I would never throw a cat up
I think
in the bathtub.
we heard two different things.
Fuck off. Keith's a little.
But am I going to sit here and say, hey, Z, what you heard is wrong? 100% I am.
God. Is this the cause of your pain? 100% no.
Is
Okay.
it a factor in your discomfort? Well, that's when we have to look at the whole picture. And that's when he had that one time we went extra high. And I'm like, oh. Got to remember that.
When he said he'd like to look at the x-rays, I know I said this before, but not on air. he said he likes to look at the X-rays and make them dance or whatever. And I laughed at it. And he was like,
Hey, I'm not too old to have fun.
no, he said something like, sometimes you gotta, like, if you're having a bad day, you gotta turn it around. And then he was like, yeah, Z, I know. And then just went back to it. And I was like, you know how what? What? Please continue. He like very clearly said my name and was like, yeah, Z.
Isn't he the one too that you said looked like the one
Yeah.
former
Brian. Oh, fuck. I can't think of his name. And when I told my therapist that.
Boyanis?
No.
Boytano.
Brian Boitano. I don't know. It might be. When I told that to my therapist, she
Lost her shit.
laughed. She was like, I know that doctor. And I said, this is what he looked like. I told her that I made you a.
Oh, she actually knew who he was?
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought she was just like, she knew who the
Yeah, she was like,
skater
oh, I
looked
know that
like.
actor. It's not Brian Boitano.
Okay.
Yeah, Brian Boitano's the gay one. The only gay.
Yeah, I'm sure. The only gay figure skater.
Never mind you, Johnny Ware. Hold on. Hold on. Scott Hamilton. Fuck,
Oh,
I never
yeah.
goddamn remember his name. But not without a mask so much. With the mask, he looked.
Oh, yeah.
He's spitting image. Without a mask, I was like, oh, you look far less like Scott Hamilton.
More like Bulldog.
Yeah,
What's that actor's name? I should learn it.
I know. I should too.
I know.
I know. Anyway, so Vivienne goes to the desert with all the other single ladies, and she meets Kay, who's a slut. She just sleeps with anyone. Who's a woman. No, she she has a lot of. I guess she like sleeps around, and Silver is aware. And I don't know if this is how it actually was, but it felt like she and Silver like were hookups for each other. Like
Yeah.
it felt I couldn't tell. I
I
couldn't
just
really
like
tell.
our first introduction to Silver. She's like, they like kiss on the mouth.
Yeah, I was like, so
But while she's talking about her.
yeah, her yeah.
Isn't that a pretty sight?
Careful, it don't blind you now.
And
I ain't pregnant either. Well, hell, knowing our settling down, you and Daryl should follow suit. Then we could go away together on vacation.
Don't you know by now it doesn't happen with Daryl?
I'm getting tired of defending your reputation.
I'm used to people talking behind my back. But if you didn't accept who I am, that would really be tough.
Dan Butler
Dan Butler. Who's that?
played Bulldog Briscoe.
Oh wow, I like how he's gay. David
too.
Hyde Pierce is gay.
Yeah. Most of the writers.
Yeah, and oh god, why can't John Mahoney?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and like so many gays on that show.
BB Newworth, gay icon.
Right, gay icon. Yeah, gay con.
ACA BB Newworth.
I'm so proud of that.
Yeah.
I like that I had to write that down during the movie, and I was like, I hope Keith doesn't see my notes, and it was so funny.
It's a good payoff.
And I was like, I have to say this, and it was like the first thing I said, ACA BB Newworth. It's good times. Good. Malice was that was a good ep. That was one of the standout eps from the first season where we knew we had something. We knew we had something special.
We made ourselves laugh with it. It's not in our top listens. Somehow,
Crazy. Primal Fear stays
Primal
at
Fear,
the top.
number one.
Yeah, and
this day.
it's an episode to this day I still have never listened to.
Oh yeah.
Because it was when I was trying to hold down a 9 to 5 and that hellscape of a month and a half of our life that we realize we just can't. We're not normal people.
I'm sure, especially now, you would cringe at the audio quality. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that
I know I would.
Now that I'm making my own podcast.
Yeah.
I feel like once you gave up on trying to use the mixer, that
definitely was
an
important moment.
Yeah. Like
stay for thicking with it. Hey, here's
stay
something. Here's
for
something.
thicking with us. Stay for
Here's something. Check out this dude's headline. I just sound like I'm doing a
check out this dude's headline.
News headline. I was
trying
to do Jay Leno, but ended up sounding like I was doing my iced tea. Z is shocked. Had no idea. Hey, here's something. No! It's because of my listening to Freedom. Lauren does that every now and again, and it's really funny. Hey, here's something. The kids are calling it twerking.
Keith's best bits, what Keith considers his best bits are usually the bits
my
he
favorite.
likes best than other people.
What? Pause for laughter.
Keith's best bits are just his favorite bits that other people do. I'd like for you to look at my cover photo.
You pressed record for that.
I didn't press record for that. I pressed unpause.
My mistake.
Thank you. I think it would be funny to hear. Hopefully you're like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Of course I am. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction. How do you spell your name again?
Sneepus.
Good news, we're friends. That's nice.
Thank you.
That's nice. How could you do those things? One this is just like shouting into a pillow.
No, that's
One little guy with oh, that's cute.
Thank you. My morning was spent making my profile picture and cover photo. That's what I've done this morning. What?
Mad at this mic.
Oh, okay. You were touching your penis and you looked at me, so I thought you were just. I thought you were going all daddy dom on me.
Is that you? Charlotte?
No.
Charlotte! That's what she sounds like. Kim Kardashian had a great look at the Met Gala.
I don't like this. Oh my god, this episode is gonna be so fun for us to listen back
Oh
to.
yeah. That's gonna be so fun to edit too. Oh wait.
I like how we started with me getting mad at you because you said the lawnmower sounds were different.
Different times. That was a different era.
And then we turn it around. Look at us.
Okay, so Viv gets to Reno, meets Kay. Oh, so she's staying at this ranch. Owned and run by Francis, played by Audra Lindley, whom I know and love as Mrs. Roper from Trees Thumpany.
That was good.
And,
that was a good save.
I was great to see her in another role, and she's
It was
fucking
good.
great
Yeah.
in this movie. So she has a kid, a boy child, biological child.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I thought
with Greg or whoever her dead partner is that she never married. And then Kay is that guy's kid from another person or the kid of somebody else she had a relationship with?
No. It's that guy's kid because she would say, because Kay would be like, why do you, she would say that you're all of him that I have left.
Right.
So.
Right. So, the dude, fortunately, doesn't get a lot of space or take up a lot of space. And he's actually a sweet character. You think he's going to crush out on Viv and, you know.
He kind of does.
He does, but he's.
But Kay's his sister, so.
Yeah, we don't have to. We're not burdened with his feelings about it.
Correct. Yeah.
Wonderfully. Like, you know, I feel like a lot of movies would make him.
Yeah.
Try to get involved. And end up acting out and hurting himself or somebody else.
I do like the scene where he's carrying all of Vivian's bags out in a huff, and she's like, put him down, and he's like, and he just puts him down, and then he's like, what I like is he just does what she says. He's not like, you know, it's very clear that he's just doing what everybody's telling him to do. He's not really, it's almost like he's not taking, she's like, take, you know, he's taking your things to the car because that's what Francis said to do.
Right.
And then
Vivian says, I don't want that.
No, I don't want that. And he's like, oh, great. She's like, put him down. He's like, and he puts him down. And then it was so interesting because like he did feel upset by it, but he was not defying her despite that. So that was like an interesting sort of dynamic.
Anyway, it becomes an awakening for Vivian.
Yes.
They fall in love. They haven't. I mean, that's some other things happen along the way, but
my favorite part, honestly, I honestly thought it was going to be like a very tame, like PG sort of love story, and even so, I was like, this is an interesting movie.
Apparently, this is one of those gay movies that like is like I had not heard about Bound until
I've never heard of this movie.
I know.
This movie is like
one of the things I watched was the director in conversation with Jane Lynch.
Wow.
Who was like, yeah, I watch this movie like every day from age 25 to 30 or something. I mean,
Jesus.
So much. I watched Desert Hearts almost every night for probably a couple of years.
So what era was that?
This would have been when I was 28, 29, so this would have been 89. I was 25 years old when it came out, and I really identified with Kay and wanted nothing more than to have a Vivian Bell in my life.
She's like, I full-on fell in love with Helen Shaver, who played Vivian.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Do you want to go into the plot anymore? Or should
no, I mean, I think it's, you know, like, there's, you know, that Kay and Vivian develop a friendship and it leads to more, but it's like, it does happen. It's like it happens naturally and it doesn't because it's set in the 50s. So Kay is sort of like the outcast. Some really good dialogue happens though. Like when they're like after they hook up for the first time or whatever, and they go out for like to eat or something like that. And then like Vivian is saying like how Kay is like cavalier, nonchalant or whatever about it. And she was like, I do that. So that I won't like, she was like, you want to change everyone's mind. She's like, I act this way so that they don't change me.
Yeah.
Listen, you're just visiting the way I live. It would suit you fine to hide away in that hotel room until your train leaves.
By all means, let's hire a float. You are so insistent on everyone perceiving things the way you do.
Oh, yeah, making real headway in that department.
No fear, no confusion, so self-assured.
I don't act that way to change the world. I act that way so the goddamn world won't change me.
Lower your voice.
Why? Is this a false issue?
And I was like, Jesus, this is some good dialogue. This is some good back and forth. And it doesn't feel like you're just, you know, like something that I appreciated is it didn't feel like you're on either one of their side. you do feel like both of them have valid point. Like Vivian's like, I'm new to this. I don't know what I'm doing. Like this is, like this is completely upsetting to my entire life, which I'm not used to. And like, this is overwhelming for me. And Kay's like, this is my whole life. This is what I have to deal with all the time. And you're like, no, you're both right.
Yeah. The way the way you framed that reminded me of the scene with it from Torch Song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where she's like, why don't you tell me about your life?
Yeah.
Or like, you've just been shoving it down my throat. Or, and he's like, what?
Yeah.
Anyway, where you see both their sides. And
yeah,
it's really,
yeah.
I mean, it helps it was fucking Anne Bancroft.
Oof, yeah.
Who, apparently, I'm now just a stan.
Yeah, for sure.
After two singer in 2 movies for the pod. Another reason we got to watch The Graduate.
Yeah.
I feel totally heard.
No, it's one of those movies that I feel like I'm not going to enjoy it because I know so much about it.
But you love Dustin Hoffman so much.
Oh God. Oh.
Mr. Tootsie himself.
I know. But then I found out that he's a horrible person and he forced girls to suck his dick and he jerked off in front of them and he made them rub his feet.
Yeah, the foot massage is the worst part.
And some of those girls were underage and Dustin. Oh, so hard. And he's in so many of my favorite movies. Like he's in Stranger Than Fiction.
Well, that's right.
Bro.
And Rain Man.
Anyway, so
Never seen it.
Great for you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I just keep wanting to check. Yeah, like what the way that their romance develops is like an interesting thing because like they're sort of coming to it naturally. Like they're having like a natural progression of like friends, and then their feelings are and they're trying to like they have their first kiss, and like they hang out all night and just happen to have their first kiss, and Francis kicks Vivian out and is like, and freaks the fuck out, and people start like and Vivian is like suffering the possibility of ostracization. I don't feel like I said that word very well. And because, she had one kiss with Kay.
Yeah.
Every kiss begins with Kay. And it's like, so they don't really get to like, what was that?
Just doing a bit for myself.
So like they don't really, you're stupid. So they don't, it felt like they didn't get to like experience it like a natural progression of things. So they get like they get sort of like these accusations.
Well, one of the things
that
that I think it does well is the pressure, I guess, the social pressure attached to, because Kay is more or less out as much as you can be in a rural, semi-rural, you assume conservative.
Yeah.
Reno in 1959.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll say this. Daryl, she should have just gone with it, man. He like owns a casino and he wants to like fucking marry her, and he doesn't care that she's gay, and he's like, whatever you do is fine. It's no bother to me. Girl. Yes. Come on. But yeah, anyway, sorry.
And by the time Vivian actually, is starting to acknowledge some of her feelings, she's like, oh, and like the scene you referred to already, and like before that when they're at the restaurant or whatever.
Yeah.
She's like, don't, she's like.
Yeah. Oh, no, that was after. That's after they sleep together.
Okay. Well, yeah. Oh, it is. Yeah, okay. Anyway, she's just like, suddenly, even though they were hanging out all the time in different scenarios, now she's like, oh, I don't want.
Yeah.
Keep your voice down. Like, like, suddenly she's
aware.
Feels hyper aware that she's going to be perceived as
queer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really interesting. I love the scene in the hotel room though, when when Kay comes and she's like, I just want to talk, like I want to see you, and she's like, fine, she lets her in. And Kay is just like, they're like having this conversation, and Vivian goes in the other room and she turns around and Kay's completely fucking naked and in bed, and she's like,
Shot really well. Like, it's legitimately surprising.
Yes,
you're like,
it's
whoa.
so surprising.
You really feel you're with Vivian, and
and she just like turns back around and she's like,
you also, there's no, if you don't know the film, like, at this point we don't know if we're going to see any.
There was like the fact that there was full on titty at this point, I was like, oh, and just and from there, just lesbian sex. Like, they're like, oh my God. I was like,
so apparently I've never, I don't know what to chalk it up to, so I won't bother trying, but it probably has to do with my porn habits as much as anything else. But I don't believe anybody's having an orgasm unless
a penis is involved.
Yeah, exactly. I put the clip of him saying, I don't know how you get so much action.
All the equipment,
You get all that traffic with no equipment. It's beyond me.
But apparently it's when Vivian's like rubbing her face and look like she's about to cry or something. Apparently that's meant to be like she's about to come and doesn't let herself.
Oh, shit. Interesting.
But then she does when she gets on top. So whatever.
Interesting. Yeah. I will be honest and say that like some vagina havers can come from things that I cannot come from. Like, I had a lesbian friend
the beauty of
who told me that she was like,
just brushing her teeth.
she did not like to be penetrated at all. Like, she was like, I do not want that whatsoever. Sure. I don't know if she still is she now, because she's basically describing her like, she's like, I want to have a penis, I don't want to be penised, But she said she would come from like penetrating someone else, like it like the friction from the strap would get her off, and I was
okay,
never in a million years would that work for me.
Right.
Never in a million years. I mean, there can be a one-off chance of like sometimes something will happen. And you're like, wow, that was surprising.
Right.
You're not gonna be able to duplicate it. You know, like it's never gonna just. I mean, for me, I'm talking about, and like I've heard people be like, oh, I came from like thinking hard about something, and I'm like, what?
Riding a horse.
Oh my God, how?
Not a horse cock.
I did have sex with, I know you know about this. No, yeah. No, I had sex with
Split that booty.
I had sex with a lovely lady one time, and it didn't take much. And I was like, it took a single finger.
You just like winked.
I was like a single finger, and it was just like climax, and she just kept going, and I was like, I'm gonna keep going until she tells me to stop, because I was like, this is a lot of fun. And like it was just and so it was like I lost count. I think I lost count after like 17 or something like that. It was like, I'm not kidding, like it was just continual.
Good Lord.
I know. And I was like, I'm not gonna stop. And it was crazy. Yeah. I was like,
man,
it was like
it was like
and it just literally.
I'm going to put in construction noises.
Yeah. No, you got it. You don't need to. You don't need to.
You know what that was?
I just. Eddie Izzard.
Thank you.
And it just kept happening.
Wow. Must be nice.
Mm-hmm. It takes so much. It takes so much for me, to
honestly
get there.
Not as much as I've.
I'm gonna
You're
say
not
this.
the worst that I've seen.
It's true, but here's the thing.
You see me standing with my back against a record machine. Ow! Might as well jump. Go ahead, jump. That's lyrics in that song.
Oh, in what song?
Jump by Van Halen.
Oh, I don't know that song. I don't know Van Halen songs. You should
David
know
Lee
that.
Roth in it.
So you are like the easiest for me to get there that I've ever experienced.
It's notoriously hard for me to get off.
For me to get there.
Oh, well, okay.
You're
you,
you.
Okay, it was ambiguous where
Sorry.
there was.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You make it easy for me.
Thank you. That's the least I can do.
No. No one's ever, like, honestly, like, no one's ever gotten me there as quickly. And honestly, no one's gotten me there themselves. I've never, like, no one's ever been able to, no one. I've been with men and women and people who identify otherwise. And no one has, on their own, without my help, ever gotten me off. Except you.
Oh.
Yep. So Desert Hearts. I love saying that I've been with, like, I love talking about the genders that I've slept with because it makes me sound like such a bigger hussy than I actually am.
It's 3 people.
And I exactly.
One of each.
And I like having like the crazy stories that I have because there's only that those were like
It was like one summer.
It was like it was literally one crazy summer, and it was like 3 instances of like crazy, like, you know, there was the didn't poop myself incident that I always call it a one night stand. You call it the time I didn't poop.
I call it Hercules.
So, would you recommend?
I got lots more to say.
Okay, I'm just asking.
See? Yeah.
That's not a signifier that we have to end the episode.
False.
That's
It's a signifier that you want me to stop talking.
it's a no, it's not. It's a signifier that we've passed 50 minutes.
Oh, okay, good to know.
And I've never told you that before, so
Thank you. It would
But
have been
yeah.
nice to know.
But yeah, would you recommend this? I'm
no.
curious. I would definitely recommend.
Hell yeah.
I would recommend this.
I would say, if nothing else, it's, again, like, man, I cannot think of, I mean, first of all, there's so few lesbianic love tales.
Yes. 1985. I don't think we mentioned that. 1985 is when it came out.
Yes. Also, that's when it got released. It was shot at least a year earlier.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Independent.
Yeah.
It's an independent film.
Crazy.
So, also, I think her first feature-length film.
Crazy.
She was a documentarian before this.
Oh, okay.
Because of this movie, Oprah Winfrey saw Desert Hearts and hired her to direct The Women of Brewster Place, which was a short-run series. But
wow. Crazy.
Oprah produced, I guess. And
wow. Anyway.
I vaguely remember that being on TV.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to emphasize that.
Yeah, no, excellent point. And to that, because of its sort of like I don't have a good adjective for it because some of the acting is, I mean, I think it's appropriate for what it is, but like I wouldn't say it's, I don't know. Anyway, there's something about it that's very earnest feeling.
Yeah.
And it misses so many of the pitfalls.
Yeah.
That consciously or otherwise I was sort of expecting.
Yeah.
For a lesbian love story, like you know, shit like The Kids Are All Right, you know,
right?
Like, and Donna Deitch, the director, said she specifically wanted to make just a lesbian love story, because any of the ones she knew about ended in a bisexual triangle,
which is
or suicide,
literally, like,
AKA tragegay.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I was so, that's how Blue is the Warmest Color ends, was like she cheats with a guy and then the kids are all right. She cheats with a guy.
Clearly it's
like,
still
it's so,
the dominant.
it's such a fucking trope. And like, here's the thing. Like, the fact that the only comprehension of like a lesbian relationship not working out is that one of them sleeps with a man is so fucking
it's so insulting.
Insane to me. Like, I'm sorry, we can also.
I mean, sure that happens, but like,
and like
at least have them cheat on another with another woman. Yeah.
And it's always like, it's never like, or you know, it'll be like one's lesbian and one's bisexual, or like one's a lesbian and the other one's had sex with men before, but they're a lesbian now. And then it's like stop making it.
I mean, this
like,
is a conversion tale because
yeah, true. But she said that like she would.
Fucking Kay gets her toaster oven with this one.
She says that. She said, like, the director said, like, I guess she just decided, I don't even know if she tried to make it not independently, because she said she didn't want to, she refused to concede the sex scene. And it ending with Kay with basically them being together and Kay, like, getting on the train with Vivian. Right. Spoiler. And like, I really liked how it ended. What I liked about the ending was not that it was like, we're going to be together forever. Like, it's just like, I want to spend more time with you. Come with me. And so it wasn't like this, like, we're meant to be together. We're always going to be together.
Yeah.
It's never going to be anything else. It's just like accepting that they both want more time together. It's true. It doesn't have that
fucking weight of, I mean,
and that was something that I really appreciated it, because I'm like, it's a serious movie. They're very, like, it's so like sexually charged. It's very, I loved the sex scenes in it, and it definitely felt like, because like people will be like, I think it can be hard when you are like, you want to, like, the difference between like the male gaze and the female gaze when it comes to like being attracted to women, and it's like,
right.
For me, the difference is like, it was really hot when they were like just kissing each other, like when Vivian was like kissing Kay's arm and stuff like that. But then you see like titty, and you know, they're naked and they're like, you know, taking their time, like they're not like doing anything almost. It's just like, it's hot because it's two women wanting each other's bodies, and it's like, it's like, that's never allowed. That's never allowed in movies and anything. Like, even in stuff where like people are like openly queer or whatever, there's never like, you're never shown a woman wanting another woman's body. It's so weird. Like, it's always like it's always like it's presented as like you're attracted to someone despite the fact that they have great tits or something. It's like, no.
Not even fucking Beverly Crusher in the 28th century or whatever is allowed to.
Exactly. Like, you know,
she'd rather fuck a goddamn ghost before she'd
rather fuck Riker.
Oh, yeah.
Blah! No thanks. So anyway, what else did you want to say about the movie?
Well, just some background that I learned.
Okay.
For instance, Patricia Charbonneau, who plays Kay, her first film, Donna Dietz tells it that she was at the casting agency, just saw her headshot, and was like, okay, I want this person to read.
Nice.
And the casting director being like, oh, okay, but she's never been in film. Comes from theater. Like, you at least want a screen tester. And she's like, no, just have her read. Like, so for her, it was a very, nice. She was like, no, she's Kay. So she was cast first.
Wow.
And that was in New York. Then once she was cast, they went to L.A. They had 3 candidates for Vivian. That, you know, they read together with Patricia Charbonneau.
Yeah.
Charbonneau's telling is that she was like, I remember that there was something that happened after reading with Helen Shaver that I just immediately kissed her hands after the scene was over.
Aww.
Just like, so she was cast, obviously. And besides Audra Lindley, who's clearly had a longer career than anybody else, but like, hearing them all talk, like Helen Shaver, whom I was on, like none of these people are big names,
Yeah.
but they all have long oeuvres. Like if you look at IMDb, they've definitely both been in things you've seen.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
our ages.
Yeah.
One of them is in The Craft even, and another is in Manhunter. I think Helen Shaver's somewhere in Manhunter.
Helen Shaver was in the TV show for Poltergeist. The Legacy.
Yes, that's right.
And Charbonneau was in RoboCop 2.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely
as
seen
a
that.
robot technician, uncredited.
Definitely seen that.
She had a lot of TV. She did a lot of TV.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've seen her in
the 80s.
Yeah.
Late 80s. Anyway, apparently, so there was that. What else was I going to say? Oh, and this is one of those things where, like, they all just basically lived together. Mm-hmm. They didn't stay on that ranch, but they all lived or staying in the same hotel in Reno. Mm-hmm. And they were just all there all the time. It wasn't like, leads coming in and coming out. And so it was very tight-knit. And,
nice.
It's one of those things where, it was like, despite the product not matching.
Yeah.
Or, not. It was similar to hearing the behind-the-scenes stuff about Near Dark.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, oh, yeah. I think it was the director saying, like, Audra Lindley was the only person who housekeeping changed her sheets every day because she was the only name that anybody recognized.
Amazing.
Also, apparently the son, that was another person who Donna Deach said, like, as soon as he walked in the room, I was like, oh, no, this guy's the perfect. And it was specifically about his reading the line of 116th and Broadway or whatever.
Broadway. Yeah.
But he
York,
just,
New
like,
York.
when he was reading that line, he just naturally, like, put one of his legs up against the wall. She's like, that's a perfect, like, combination of, like, trying to seem sophisticated and clearly not, like, just, like, awkward.
Yeah.
Anyway. Nobody talked about Silver.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Or Joe, and they're perfect. Oh, yeah, this is the other thing that I wanted to... Donna Deach said that, like, she was also... Once she had already had the idea that she wanted to make this kind of movie of just a love story. Mm-hmm. And to avoid all the... things, all the tropes. And she was thinking she would have to write it, and then someone just lent her a book that was The Desert of the Heart. And she was like, oh. She read it, and then she read it 7 more times or something.
Nice.
And she was like, so that became the vehicle.
Yeah.
So I think it's not terribly true to the novel.
Okay.
But she also said that because of the book, because it starts with someone going to Reno to get a divorce, which is apparently how the Misfits starts, 1961, I think, with Marilyn Monroe, where she goes to Reno to get a divorce and then falls in love with, I don't know, Rock Hudson or somebody.
Yeah.
I don't feel that way about you, Kay.
Well, don't get discouraged, girl. You might.
She wanted to do a lesbian version of that.
Nice.
I think it was a huge, I guess it was a big hit at Telluride Film Festival and Toronto when they showed it right when it was new.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm still just like blown away that I've never fucking heard about it.
Same.
Like nothing about it.
For real.
It was, and highly recommend. I absolutely recommend.
Yeah.
I think if you haven't seen it and you're like, you just watch it. Like if you like any kind of queer cinema at all, watch it. It's like
It should be up there with like Boys in the Band at least. For,
yeah,
like,
it's so like if I had seen this when I was younger,
Right.
I would have lost my shit.
yeah.
You'll probably be able to hear it. My stomach's just been growling. Like
I'm sure I'll be able to hear it.
I mean, on the playback.
Things that were distracting for me where there's all these wipes. I could not comment on them because it just kept reminding me of like Indiana
Wars.
Jones and Star Wars.
Yeah.
Which I know that's Spielberg and Lucas's thing. I assume that comes from Kurosawa or somebody. I know like it was definitely, or like whatever. I know when they made Raiders, it was like an homage to the TV serials and shit of the. So I know they were quoting something by doing that. I found it very distracting in this movie. I'll say this movie, like, again, I don't want to fault it for the movie that I would make, like that kind of thing. But, and I'm not, I wouldn't change, like, it is what it is, and you should meet it on its terms, which I don't think it's hard to do. But it definitely has like. And again, this is part of its charm. It doesn't have a lot of the same cinematic language as far as like editing. Like the editing really is the thing that stood out for me as, for me, uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And not hugely. It just like, there's some shots that I'm like, they last so short, briefly, that I'm like, I don't know. Like the scene where she takes off her ring. Okay, like I didn't need that scene, and then it fades into Kay driving to work, and I don't know. I didn't know what those scenes were meant to do, and they're so brief. So stuff like that, I'm like, I would have much rather, because there's a lot, like you said, some of the dialogue is just really gut punchy, and has a gravitas that I think that it isn't really held up by the pacing or the editing. Like I wanted them to be given more space than they were, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. But again, those were minor like distractions. They weren't like, those aren't, again, it's a good movie. It's a good movie on its own, let alone being the only probably the least problematic lesbian love story you're going to see.
Ever seen,
Right? Like to date. I don't.
Yeah. Like crazy. The only complaint that I have, and I think it's a fair and major complaint, is there's like not a single person of color in the entire movie. Which some would be like, well, that's just true.
Well, I remember commenting, there's a black person gets off the train at the very...
You said that, but I didn't see them. You were like, I didn't see that at all. So I don't know.
Well, maybe I was wrong. Maybe they just were a very tan white person.
It could be it.
I'm colorblind.
It's true. Everyone is brown.
Oh.
Because you don't see green or red.
Also, apparently,
Figgin.
2 days before shooting began, Patricia Charbonneau found out she was pregnant.
I saw that. It was like she was pregnant during the entire making of the film. And I'm like, this movie had to have been shot fast.
Exactly.
Well, when she's a lot of her.
In the overnight scene, when they get rained on and she's wearing that silver get-up, she's got a little bump. But it doesn't look like anything that isn't, you know, it could just be her body.
Yeah.
The love scene was shot last.
Wow.
And she did. Deitch did not. She said she didn't. She never stepped out from behind the camera, and also apparently they, like they knew that it was coming. Like, oh, here's the other thing. Oh boy. Helen Shaver and Patricia Charbonneau. Everyone tried to talk them out of taking the role. Their managers and all their agents and stuff.
Yeah.
Helen Shaver said she even had a Canadian manager who was a gay man who was like, you shouldn't do that. Because they knew, like...
Yeah, that this could be...
They were going to... And, like, I think Charbonneau's said her manager's wife was like, oh, I hope you have fun doing this movie because it's going to be the only one you ever do.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. The love scene, the sex scene is the actors said they would just do the whole take and, start to finish before the director gave any notes. She would just let the whole scene go. Apparently both actresses it was a challenge for them.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. But, and Charbonneau in particular said, she was like, it was really difficult for me. I felt very exposed and very vulnerable. There's obvious reasons why that would be.
Right.
It's her first movie, and
yeah,
she just found out she was pregnant. And
right.
So she was like, I think I felt protective of my body. And,
yeah.
But she was like, but I knew, Kay had to be the, sort of aggressor of the two. So
yeah.
And she does great. I mean, I wouldn't guess that she was uncomfortable.
Yeah, same.
So kudos, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's actually one of my favorite. I thought it was really. I'm glad I watched the things I did because I always enjoy hearing actors talk about the choices they've made.
Yeah.
And to know that they've made choices.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And Shaver said she was like, she's like, I decided that, this character was going to be cut off from the neck down. That she had cut off all sensation to her body,
wow.
And that was how she survived.
Wow. Yeah.
The patriarchy and becoming a professor of English in a man's world and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. And you see it. I felt weird about, or not weird. I didn't always like her performance of the character.
Interesting.
Again, minor. I appreciated that it's consistent. It did feel like she made a choice.
Yeah.
I just don't know that I liked it. You know what I mean? Like, which is preferable than.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I can't tell what you're doing.
Yeah.
You don't seem to know what you're doing.
Right.
But the sex scene felt the most real to me as far as her character because you can see when she's shaking and.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really good.
The emotion is really there, and that feels like. It feels appropriate and real to who the characters are and where they're coming from and how they're coming together and.
Yeah. They're coming together.
And in true lesbian top, Kay is not seen having an orgasm, so.
No?
I don't know.
Okay, I thought they both come at the same time when.
Maybe. I was just wanted to make a joke about lesbians whom I'm a member of.
I see.
I didn't notice this when watching it, but apparently during the sex scene, you can hear church bells.
Oh, interesting.
Completely diegetic. That happened naturally. That was just the location.
Wow.
I don't know if I'm using diegetic. I might be using diegetic exactly wrong, but not planned.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But of course they kept it because they were like, duh.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Helen Shaver also shared an anecdote about how Donna Deitch was given an award by GLAAD.
An award.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they invited her and Charbonneau to be surprise guests.
Aww.
To surprise the audience. And I think Donna Deitch didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Donna Deitch, they walked through the audience to the stage where Deitch was. And Shaver was saying not to downplay it, but I've experienced standing ovations before and it's always overwhelming and, of course, amazing. This one went on so long that I was able to, the adrenaline of the moment passed. And I was able just to look at all these women, all these people in the audience and say man, no matter what else I do, I know as a part of this, that means so much to so many people. And I'm like,
yeah. And again, this is where I'm like, fuck, how did I not know about this movie?
Yeah. Lesbians.
Lesbians. What the fuck?
I
think that's what I'm so blown away about this is that it felt like like so much of the time, especially like in the 80s and 90s, a queer film oftentimes suffered from a lack of like good acting or a lack of good script, a lack of good direction, or a lack of budget that affected how you're able to enjoy it. And this one did not have a big budget. This one was a very independent movie.
Oh, yeah.
Very like, you know, they raised the money all by themselves. Like all this shit was like, this was a true independent movie. And it did not feel like it. You felt like you were
it's got real
watching a story
values, real
happen.
production values.
Yeah.
And
the fact that it's not just the two main characters, the fact that Francis and Silver
also
and like
the sets.
Yes.
Holy shit.
And the music, like they play Elvis, they play Patsy Cline.
Thank you, because it's a great soundtrack. It's
like,
a lot of classic country, a lot of early rock.
I was like, Jesus Christ, like I was so blown away from that alone. Like
Right.
it was like 10 minutes in, we hadn't even gotten any like lesbianic shit.
No.
And I was like, oh my God, they're straight up playing like Elvis and
Johnny Cash and Patsy
Johnny
Cline
Cash and Patsy Cline, like all this shit. And I was like, what? And they're not playing
Wynette, I think.
And they're not playing like when I'm not a big fan of Elvis, not just because he's but because so much of his music gets overplayed, and they didn't play one of his songs that are
they played his version of Blue Moon, which is the most haunting version.
Exactly. And like it's not one of the ones that like gets played so much.
No. It's one of his earlier ones.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
and
sure.
I was like, oh my God, like Jesus Christ. Yeah. Like it was really, really impressive. So I think that's something that blew me away, is the fact that like I went in expecting this to be very, very cheesy, very over the top, very like campy almost. And like, you know, I was expecting to have fun watching it, but this was like this is a fucking, and it happened it did not feel like an 80s movie.
No.
It did not feel like a low budget film.
Nope.
It did not feel like it had any. It looks great. It's acted
I think it's on
so
Criterion.
Well.
So
yeah, it is on Criterion. Yeah.
I don't know if that's the version we watched, but it's available.
I think it is because
I believe you.
When you
I didn't
played
notice.
it was.
Oh yeah,
you said, "Oh, this is Criterion."
Oh right, that's how I know it's on Criterion. Because it said so at the beginning. Sure. Go ahead and push that button.
You're such a skank. Whatever, skank.
A great magnet pulls all souls towards truth. Amazing is life itself. The beat wisdom to its hill.
Let's just give us pizza.